siblings. I'm your host Araceli, and this is my co-host Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando, and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
Alright, let's get started with SmackDown Live. This is the go-home show for WWE Fastlane, the last stop on the road to WrestleMania. Super excited. I believe there's 35 days until WrestleMania. I cannot wait. We will be in New York City, New Jersey for WrestleMania. So come find us, come say hi.
Yeah, so if you do see us walking around in Times Square, anywhere in New York, New Jersey, stop by and say hi.
And you could win a prize if you come find us. So come find us. We'll get more into that a little bit later. Alright, let's get into SmackDown Live. The WWE Champion, Daniel Bryan, opens up the show with Rowan. And he starts saying that he sat there silently for the entire contract signing, even when Vince replaced Kofi Kingston with Kevin Owens last week.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that he didn't say anything throughout the contract signing.
He went there to do business, and you can definitely see that because last week he just showed up, signed the contract, did what he had to do, and got out of there, regardless of who his opponent was. He did mention tonight, though, that Kevin Owens is one of us, and that he definitely does not deserve an opportunity at the WWE Championship. In fact, he doesn't even know why he even got the opportunity.
I have to agree with Daniel Bryan, the new Daniel Bryan, on that part, that why is Kevin Owens getting a title shot when he's just barely coming back from an injury?
And I feel like Kevin Owens, as soon as he interrupted, he answered that question because he did say that for the last 5 months, he sat at his couch watching both SmackDown and Raw, and then he saw Daniel Bryan throw away the WWE Championship, and that's something he just couldn't handle. He couldn't tolerate it, so he decided it's time to come back, and I feel like that is what motivated him into talking to McMahon to put him in this match.
Yeah, he did say that he did feel offended by Daniel Bryan tossing the WWE Championship away, and I mean, like I said, I probably would be offended too.
And Daniel Bryan took a shot at Kevin Owens. He tells him, "You have no friends," and Kevin is like, "Yeah, I really do not have any friends," but that at Fastlane, regardless if he has friends or not, he is walking out the WWE Champion.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan means business at Fastlane, and he's gonna go all out and gonna use Rowan to his advantage.
And we saw that tonight when Kevin Owens tried attacking Rowan and they just both completely took him out. That already gives a head start advantage to the WWE Champion, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Kevin Owens against the new Daniel Bryan. It's going to be a very, very interesting match, and we'll see what happens. I believe I'm going to have to go with Daniel Bryan on this one.
You're going to have to go with Daniel Bryan. I 100% agree with you on that one. Daniel Bryan for sure is retaining, and then potentially, facing not Kevin Owens, but Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania. And it could still be a triple threat. Keep that in mind.
So we both can agree that Kevin Owens right now is pretty much a face?
Yes, he definitely is a face. Very, very interesting because I like him as a heel, but he is one of those people that can play the face character and the heel character extremely, extremely well, and he does really good on both of them, and you can't hate him, and you can't love him enough.
Personally, like you said, I like him as a heel too. I think he's probably one of the best heels this company has right now.
Yeah, because he's such a natural when it comes to being a heel. Somebody like The Miz who can do both, but when he's a heel, he's natural. He's like, I got this. He has it down. And he also has the face part down as well, but I prefer him as a heel, and it's going to be interesting to see if moving into WrestleMania, he turns and becomes a heel.
And now that it's a WrestleMania season, and we're pretty much, you said 34, 35 days away, and we're starting to see returns, I just wonder when Sami Zayn is going to be back. I mean, this would be a great opportunity to bring back Sami Zayn with Kevin Owens.
100% agree with you on that one. I couldn't agree more, let me just put it that way. But, I don't know, potentially after WrestleMania, it looks so far like he may not be coming back before Mania, but also, like you said, this is the perfect opportunity to bring him back, especially if they're going to be going up against Kevin Owens like this, where they're just going to attack him and the numbers game is going to gain up on him. Sami Zayn could potentially still be his only friend.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's just something that I'm throwing out there, just because like we're seeing all these new returns and everybody coming back, and I'm just wondering where Sami Zayn stands in all this.
Yes, so it's going to be interesting to see moving forward. All right, let's move on to Jey Uso with Jimmy Uso, of course, versus The Miz with Shane McMahon. It was a singles competition match. Very, very entertained, because at the very beginning, before the match even started, you get to see the Usos start to mock Miz, and that kind of gets on Shane and Miz's nerves, and they're like, well, you know what? We're walking out of Fastlane, the champions, and Miz is going into Fastlane, making his parents, Shane, and his family proud.
Not only that, but keep in mind that The Miz has extra motivation, just because Fastlane is going to take place in Miz's hometown.
Yes, and that is exactly why he said he's going to make everybody proud. It's his hometown, and he's ready to go. But moving into this match, I'm extremely impressed with The Miz. He has improved tremendously.
And see The Miz try out new moves and get creative. But another thing that really caught my attention is Jimmy getting involved during the match. We really don't see that a lot from the Usos, and we got to see that today, and that's what cost Jey the match.
Yes, and going back to The Miz, capitalizing on Jey's mistakes, this was the perfect opportunity, because he did exactly what he was going to do, and this is why The Miz is extremely dangerous in this match, is because he's a smart competitor, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And like you've said before in previous podcasts, he always has something up his sleeve, and you can never underestimate The Miz. And the Usos are going to have to keep focused. They're going to have to do their homework on Miz and Shane, even though they haven't been a legit tag team for a long time.
Yeah, one of the things that they have to do is not underestimate The Miz and Shane, because the moment they do, they're pretty much done. And this was a perfect example. The Miz took advantage of a distraction, a mistake that Jey had made.
Yes, 100%. Alright, prediction. At Fastlane, The Miz and Shane versus the Usos. Who do you see winning?
I'm going to go with the Usos on this one, just because I see The Miz and Shane McMahon not getting along because of them not winning the match.
So that's exactly what I was going to say. So I'll go with the Usos on this one too, and I'll tell you why. After considering my decision, because we were talking and I was like, you know what, I see Shane and Miz winning, but I can tell you something. I see The Miz starting to cheat, and that is something that's really going to trigger Shane, because we know Shane. He's not one of those people that will go out and cheat. And Miz, especially being in his hometown, he is going to go out of his way to win this match. And I think that's what's going to start the feud between these two going into WrestleMania. So I agree, the Usos.
Yeah, it's the Usos to prove themselves even more why they are the best tag team in SmackDown.
Yep, and that is exactly why The Miz is going to try to take them down, because they are the best tag team in SmackDown. Alright, moving on to Charlotte, who requested an interview backstage, and she basically says she wants to invite Becky Lynch to SmackDown, and that if she wants to know if Becky Lynch is tough enough to show up and accept her invite.
I mean, after what happened on Monday Night Raw, it's pretty tough to see if the man, Becky Lynch, is going to show up, because Ronda Rousey beat her up completely.
She definitely did. She completely took her out, and we just saw Charlotte just sit back, relax, and pretty much enjoy the show.
But knowing Becky and how arrogant she is, most likely she is going to show up.
Yes. Now, one thing. I understand Charlotte is part of the SmackDown Women's roster, but why is she still in SmackDown when we are promoting the Raw Women's Championship match, and we still haven't seen Asuka?
Very good question.
I am confused on that. Like, I understand she's still part of SmackDown, but she is challenging for the Raw Championship. So technically, she's supposed to be a member of the Raw roster, but she's still showing up on SmackDown, and so is Becky Lynch, even though they have no business there, as far as I'm concerned.
It's just that Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda are the three top women right now, and they're feuding against each other, so you have to have them on both shows.
I definitely agree with that one. I just don't see the point. I feel like at this point they should be building up Asuka, who is the SmackDown Women's Champion, who we haven't seen in like 3 weeks now. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, she definitely needs to get built up. I feel that we've been focusing too much on Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda that pretty much everybody has forgotten about Asuka and how good she is in the ring. As of right now, we don't know who she's facing at Mania. We know she's facing Mandy Rose at Fastlane.
Yes, and we'll get into that prediction a little bit later. But now let's move on to R-Truth and the U.S. Open Challenge. He pretty much, again, says he wants to be like his hero, John Cena. You know, he says, I see him everywhere in movies. I see him in posters at my house. He pretty much goes on to explain that he sees him everywhere and that he's inspired by John Cena and he wants to continue to make his hero proud. And then Carmella goes on to tell him, well, you can never give up. And she starts pretty much trying to motivate R-Truth. And he's like, I'm tired, Carmella. I'm tired. Because as we do know, last week he performed in a triple threat match for the U.S. Championship. And he was able to retain. This week, we got to see, well, what it seemed like Lacey Evans was going to answer the challenge. But no. And it seemed like R-Truth was very excited because he sees her coming. And he's like, What? You can go back and look at that footage. But it's super hilarious because he seems confused. And then she walks up the ramp and he's like, no, come back. Because I guess he saw that as a good opportunity and a good opponent. But then, shocking, we get to see Samoa Joe interrupt, Rey Mysterio interrupts, and Andrade interrupt, making this a fatal 4-way. And R-Truth agrees to this match. Well, not really. He was basically just forced into the match because they ring the bell. And then he's like...
Yeah, like last week, he was pretty much forced into a triple threat, even though he didn't want it. He wanted a singles competition. But, hey, it is what it is. When you're the champion, you have to face all comers, no matter who it is.
Exactly.
You know, especially if he's trying to be like John Cena, like his hero. So, it's a tough one, R-Truth. It's tough being champion.
It definitely is, and you gotta give that man props. He did what he could while he held the championship. We crowned a new U.S. champion today. We'll get a little bit into that as we move on with the show. But Samoa Joe dominated 99% of this match.
He was being focused the entire match, and not only that, but just, like you said, dominated and super aggressive.
And I also noticed he was taking out everybody evenly. He was like, okay, I'm going to take Mysterio out, I'm going to take Andrade out, and I am going to take out R-Truth all at the same time. And then he would focus on one, and then he'd be like, okay, that person is out, I'm going to focus on somebody else. And he went picking at everybody.
And another thing, too, during this Fatal 4-Way, they took the match outside the ring, and Samoa Joe was just completely destroying everybody, being so brutal. And he knew that if he kept everybody outside the ring, nobody was going to win. Nobody was going to get the pinfall. So that was pretty smart on his part, just keeping the match outside. And then we saw him, take Andrade, take Rey Mysterio inside the ring and try to pin him.
Yeah, so I do agree with the point you just made. I feel like that was extremely smart on his part, especially since he was being brutal. Because once you're getting beat down, you don't have the energy to take somebody like Samoa Joe inside of the ring. So that was definitely completely smart. And we also got to see Andrade try to match up with Samoa Joe, and we saw him fail. But he also gave him a tiny bit of fight at some points.
Yeah, he did. And then we also saw, again, marks of Andrade doing the Three Amigos of Eddie Guerrero.
Yes, and that's something that I guess offended Rey Mysterio, if that's the right word, or made him upset. Let's just use that word to put it that way. It made Rey upset because you got to see him immediately get up and go up into attack Andrade. And this feud is far from over. You can already tell. It's been going on for months, and it's going to continue to go on. You can see it.
And keep in mind, Andrade was so close to getting the pinfall victory on Rey Mysterio. But again, when it's a Fatal 4-Way, everybody gets on each other's way. And sure enough, that's what happened. R-Truth and Samoa Joe were going at it, and they pretty much got in the way of the referee. If not, I'm pretty sure Andrade would have got the 3 count on Mysterio and would have been the champion.
Definitely. If you go back and watch it, you can definitely tell that was a 3 count. So by the time the ref got there, it was a 2 count. And then you can see Andrade be like, that was 3. And Zelina Vega, of course, very upset. And I gotta give it to Zelina Vega in this match. She did a Hurricanrana to R-Truth. She took him out completely, but then it backfired because Carmella took her out.
And this is how well Andrade and Selena know each other, how well they work each other, and how coordinated they are. As we saw during the match, Andrade was on Mysterio, right, on the mat, and then Andrade does a signal, and all of a sudden Selena comes and does, like you said, a Hurricanrana on, I believe it was
R-Truth.
R-Truth?
Yes.
Sorry, it was R-Truth.
Yes, it was.
And you could just see how well they work together and that they're on the same page.
And this is why chemistry is very, very important. She immediately caught the signal. He didn't have to say a word to her. He just went, and she already knew it's my time, and he gave her the opportunity to shine. But Carmella took that away from her when she just super kicked her and took her out, and she was like, okay, R-Truth, I got your back. That's basically what she was saying. And that's good, because now Andrade and Selena have some competition in R-Truth and Carmella.
Yeah, and Mysterio keeps on answering to the U.S. Open Challenge. We saw it last week, we saw it this week, but he just hasn't had the chance to face the U.S. champion on a one-on-one match.
Yeah, I feel like once he gets a one-on-one match, that's it. He's going to win it. I feel like now there's been a lot of factors that have gotten in his way, like Andrade, Samoa Joe in this week. And speaking of Samoa Joe, he is the new United States champion. You have to give it to him. Finally, about time they give the man a championship. Very well deserved.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it, and he was able to capitalize on Mysterio doing a frog splash on Andrade, and from there Samoa Joe was able to capitalize.
Yes. So now it's very interesting because where does the U.S. Championship go from here? We don't have a match for the U.S. Championship so far as we know, going into Fastlane. What do you think the match is going to be at WrestleMania now that Samoa Joe is the champion?
I don't know yet, but I do want to see if Samoa Joe is going to continue doing the U.S. Open challenges on SmackDown. I would personally love to see him versus Andrade or Mysterio at WrestleMania.
Potentially a triple threat, or maybe even a fatal four-way, because we do know that R-Truth was the champion, so I would be completely okay with that.
I think a triple threat would be good.
Okay, before we move on to the very next step of SmackDown, Rey Mysterio versus Andrade was announced for the kickoff show. Prediction?
I'm going to have to go with Mysterio on this one, just because he needs a win over Andrade Cien Almas. He hasn't been able to beat him.
I have to disagree with you on that one. I have to go with Andrade personally. I feel like he was doing fantastic with his push, and no better person to make a name for yourself than to beat the man Rey Mysterio. And yeah, he's already beaten him, but this is a pay-per-view match, and I feel like he's very going to benefit from that. And I think this could potentially seal the feud, because if Rey Mysterio beats Andrade, like, that's it. If Andrade wins, I feel like you can continue this and potentially have a match at Mania.
Yeah, definitely. I see that too. But another thing is this match on the pre-show. I feel that this match should be at the actual Fastlane pay-per-view, not the pre-show.
Yeah. It should be on the main card for sure. This is probably going to be a show stealer, and we already know that. It's going to be a show stealer for sure. And it's going to steal the whole kickoff because they're not on the main card. But I'm just glad that Andrade and Mysterio are getting the opportunity.
But that's good, because they're going to set the standard of what the pay-per-view has to be. So we know for a fact this is going to be a good match. And if it exceeds the expectation, every single match in the match card has to be at that level.
Yes, 100% agree with you on that one. Alright, moving on to Aleister Black and Ricochet versus The Bar. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw a little bit of... we've been seeing Ricochet and Aleister Black these past couple of weeks in tag team. There's really not much we can say. I mean, we're already seeing what they could do in the ring, and what other than to prove themselves again against a great tag team like The Bar.
Yes, and The Bar, the veterans, obviously they know what they're doing. They know where they're going moving forward. They're not a fresh tag team like Aleister Black and Ricochet. They obviously have the advantage, and they proved that in this match, but they came out short. 100%. And it's going to be interesting to see where they go with Aleister and Ricochet. Personally, I would like to see them in singles competition, but I do see why they have them as tag teams. That only makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like you can use them, you can have them both together, they can help each other, they can build each other. It's perfect. But personally, I would split them and just have them in singles competition.
like heavy machinery that we saw on Raw this past Monday night, we're starting to see the same thing with Aleister Black and Ricochet. A lot of the tag teams are starting to get jealous of them because they're getting all these opportunities that they're not. And to me, like I said on Monday Night Raw's podcast, is that they should all step it up.
Yes, 100% agree with you on that one. The reason why Armando says that everybody's jealous is because we did get to see that last night. Aleister Black and Ricochet got a title shot opportunity at the Revival. Now, I think they earned it because they pinned them. You know, a few weeks ago, I believe it was 2 weeks ago when they pinned them. And it's like, okay, that automatically gives you a shot at the champions. So they definitely earned that. But also, the rest of the teams have to step up. Otherwise, these guys are going to take over. And I believe they did announce during this match that it was going to be Aleister Black and Ricochet versus the Revival. And I don't remember if they said that Bobby Roode and Chad Gable were also going to be a part of this match. But prediction.
They were going to be part of this match.
Okay.
And I'm going to have to go with the Revival on this one.
You're going with the Revival, they retain?
I think the Revival is going to retain.
Okay, so I disagree with this one as well. I think Aleister Black and Ricochet would benefit from the championships. I mean, at this point, they've built them up super well that I feel like now is the time to put the championship on it just to see how they would do on the main roster, because the main roster is different than NXT.
I think that Revival will retain just because, yeah, they won it a couple weeks ago, and if they really want to set a name for themselves in the Raw Tag Team division and take them as a serious tag team, they have to win in this match at Fastlane.
And what better to prove it than being the two best teams in Raw right now?
Especially if they get a pinfall over Aleister or Ricochet.
Yeah, because that would immediately stop their momentum, but I still disagree. I think Aleister Black and Ricochet should get it now, especially going into WrestleMania. But either or, it doesn't really matter. I don't mind as long as we have champions that are going to be defending the championships. That's all I care about.
And believe me, this is going to be a great, great match.
Another fantastic match, yes. Alright, Mandy Rose versus Naomi. We do know that Mandy Rose has a shot at Asuka at Fastlane, but we'll get into that in just a few minutes. This match was probably about 56 seconds short. Pretty much Naomi got distracted by Sonya Deville, and Mandy again took advantage of that opportunity and was able to pin Naomi and beat her.
I'll tell you this, I really love Mandy Rose's finisher move. I think it's amazing. I think it's great. And, I mean, it's just one of the best moves I've seen so far.
It's very effective, especially for a woman's move. I feel like it's very dominant and it works. It's something she really focused on and something she really put her head into, and it's working. And also, you have to give it to her. She's an extremely smart competitor, and Asuka has to be careful Sunday at Fastlane, because if she, for any shape or form, gets distracted, whether it be Lacey Evans, whether it be any other woman on the roster, or Sonya Deville, she has to stay focused. Otherwise, Mandy Rose is going to capitalize.
Sonya Deville is going to play a huge factor in the Fastlane match that she's going to have against Asuka.
Alright, prediction. Asuka versus Mandy Rose for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
I'm going to have to go with Asuka on this one.
100% agree with you on that one. I think ever since the Royal Rumble match, nothing has really happened with Asuka. I feel like winning this would finally, I guess, put her in that spot where she's supposed to be as the SmackDown Women's Champion. As Armando said earlier, they focused too much on the Raw women. Now it's time to focus on Asuka moving forward into WrestleMania.
And keep in mind, this is probably Mandy Rose's biggest match of her career. Yeah, she was able to compete for the Women's Tag Team Champions at the Chamber, but I'm talking about singles competition.
Yes, 100% agree with you on that one. This is for sure the biggest match of her career. Does she need to win? No, because she's already going to prove herself. You already know she's going to shine in this match. That's a guarantee. That's a fact. I feel like desperately Asuka has to win this match because it will cement, not her legacy, but it will cement her again as the tough competitor that we knew down from NXT. You know, she kind of got lost in SmackDown and they haven't been doing anything with her.
Definitely Asuka has everything to lose in this match.
Yes, 100%. Alright, moving on to Kevin Owens versus Rowan with Daniel Bryan.
Rowan's just the powerhouse that kind of like Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. It's going to be interesting to see, though, how this all plays out, because I still think it's kind of weird that Rowan is partnered with Daniel Bryan. I don't think Bryan needs backup, and that's not what he calls it. I believe he calls it an alliance. I don't think he needs that alliance. I think he's better off on his own, but I'm all open to this possibility. So far, they've been able to make it interesting, and I'm looking forward to see where this leads going into Mania.
And again, Daniel Bryan playing the mind games with Kevin Owens, as we saw during the match. Kevin Owens got distracted by Daniel Bryan, and that's pretty much what cost him the match.
Yep, and at this point, it was a no contest because then they started attacking Kevin Owens, and they were intending to take him out. And keep in mind, that was going to be an advantage for Daniel Bryan going into his championship match at Fastlane. That was going to be his advantage. If I can make sure Kevin Owens is taken out, or at least doesn't go into this match at 100%, I have a bigger chance of winning. And I feel like that is exactly what Daniel Bryan was trying to do. It was his plan.
Yeah, but the plan failed because as they were attacking Kevin Owens, I'm pretty sure everybody thought that Sami Zayn was going to come out. But we had another huge surprise. Mustafa Ali made his return and came back from injury.
Yep, 100%. He came out, helped out Kevin Owens. Very, very interesting, actually, because he just came out of nowhere for no reason to help out Kevin Owens. But yet again, he had been feuding with Daniel Bryan right before he got injured, so it makes perfect sense. Interesting, because now what happens with Mustafa Ali going into WrestleMania? You know, is he going to be a potential challenger? Is this going to be a triple threat, a fatal 4-way, a fatal 5-way? You don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see, and this is why after Sunday, every little thing that happens is going to be extremely crucial. Even if you don't think it's important, trust me, it is going to be important.
Yes, because keep in mind, Mustafa Ali did get injured, and he was removed from the Elimination Chamber match. And they added Kofi Kingston, so now what's going to happen with Kofi Kingston is he's going to get added into Daniel Bryan's match at WrestleMania. Is it going to be a triple threat? Like you said, is it going to be a fatal 4-way? We'll see, because Mustafa Ali deserves his opportunity.
I have to make a comparison. It's probably a bad comparison, but it makes sense to me. I feel like Kofi Kingston is exactly what Becky Lynch is, simply because this match, like you said, at the Elimination Chamber, it was supposed to be Mustafa Ali who was supposed to be in that match, and he got injured, kind of like when Becky Lynch, got injured, got her knee injured, and it's a different situation, obviously, but she got injured by Nia Jax also when she got punched in the nose. So then they had to find a replacement, and that replacement was Kofi Kingston, and that just skyrocketed Kofi Kingston's career, and I feel like they weren't expecting that. It was a total surprise. But moving forward, it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of match they decide to do for Daniel Bryan. And whoever they put, whether it's Kevin Owens, whether it's Mustafa Ali, or whether it's Kofi Kingston, he's going to have one hell of an opponent, and it's going to be one hell of a match.
Yes, and I believe we already did mention it. Daniel Bryan is retaining the WWE Championship.
Yep, at Fastlane.
Yep. Alright, let's go on to the main event, which was, again, the girls, Charlotte Flair. As we do know earlier, she requested an interview, and that's where she invited Becky Lynch to come to SmackDown. And she goes out, and she's like, alright, let's summon Becky out here. And she's like, Becky, Becky, and they start the chants, and then Becky Lynch comes out. And this is where it starts to get very, very interesting, because Becky Lynch said that if she could lie about the pain, she would. But obviously, she can't. She's hurt. She is in pain. But she's still going to go into this match at Fastlane.
Yeah, me personally, I didn't think she was going to show up just because of the beating she got on Monday Night Raw. But she did show up, and she's there, man, facing Charlotte Flair and willing to go all out.
And Becky Lynch stated and made it extremely clear that she has been able to get inside Ronda's head and inside Charlotte's head. Necessarily, I don't think she's gotten inside Charlotte's head yet, but I do feel like she has gotten inside Ronda Rousey's head. She definitely has.
I agree with you on that 100%. She's gotten more into Ronda's head than what like Charlotte. Charlotte Flair is taking it like the champ. She's just kicking back, letting Becky get the best of her.
Exactly. And she's just watching, like you said, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out on Sunday. And then Charlotte pretty much attacks Becky, and it was all a setup. It was a plan. She wanted to make sure that Becky is at her weakest point going into Fastlane, because who's going to want to have another opponent in your match? You know, that obviously lowers the odds that are in your favor. So, therefore, she attacks her, but Becky Lynch puts her in the disarmor, and then you just see Charlotte walk out. So, prediction, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. If Becky wins, she is added into the Raw Women's Championship match, making it a triple threat. If she loses, she's done and she loses her opportunity, even though she won the Royal Rumble match.
This is pretty much, I'm sure we can agree on this one as well. It's pretty much a given. I'm going to go for Becky.
100%. Yeah. Becky Lynch. There is no way they are not going to include her in this match.
And just like we said before, these three women are the hottest women right now in the WWE, and you can't pass up this opportunity. It's going to be a triple threat match. It has to happen this WrestleMania. If not, it's not going to happen
Ever again
at any other one.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is the time. Obviously, Becky Lynch is going to get added into this match. She's going to be Charlotte. But also, keep in mind, going into Mania, this is very interesting because Charlotte has never been able to beat Becky Lynch. So, going into Mania, that just sit down and think about it for a second and just be like, okay, wait, Becky has beaten Charlotte every single match she's had with her so far. Charlotte has to prove at some point that she can beat Becky Lynch.
Keep in mind, Charlotte is big match Charlotte, and she tends to win in big pay-per-views, historic matches. And keep in mind as well that Ronda hasn't lost.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
I'm like, spoiler.
That Ronda hasn't lost. So in between these two women, this match has all the ingredients to be the biggest match in WrestleMania history.
And the biggest match in these three women's careers. So, very, very interesting points that we were made. Alright, let's move on to the rest of the Fastlane predictions. We already did the SmackDown ones. I don't believe we are missing one. Raw. The Raw Women's Championship match. There is none, but it is Becky and Charlotte. So then, Aleister Black versus The Revival. We already went with that one. I can cut it out. It's okay. What was the other match good to the hair earlier?
The Shield
versus
Baron Corbin,
okay,
Bobby Lashley, and what was the last name? McIntyre.
And then what's the other match? That's it, no? That's okay. I can cut all this out.
The women's tag team.
The women's tag team, right?
Yeah.
And then that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, so the rest of the Fastlane predictions, let's get into that very, very quickly. The Shield versus McIntyre, Lashley, and Corbin. Where do you see this going? Can we both agree that the Shield is winning this match?
Yes, the Shield is definitely going to win this match.
I don't see them coming back and then just losing.
Yeah. Like you said, it'll be pointless for them to come back and lose.
Yeah. Especially after going through that entire hard work to get Dean Ambrose to finally agree to take part in this match. So yeah, I definitely think the Shield is going to win this match. Alright, the Raw Women's Tag Team Championship. Sorry, I still get a little stuck saying that because I'm still not used to it. But the Raw Women's Tag Team Champions, Sasha and Bayley versus Tamina and Nia Jax. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with the Boss and Hug Connection, Sasha and Bayley.
The Boss and Hug Connection, definitely. I agree 100% with that one. I don't see Tamina and Nia winning it just yet. Okay.
And
I think that's all we have. So, join us next week on a brand new episode of Wrestling with Siblings. I'm Araceli. This is Armando. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let everybody know to become a sibling today. Your grandma, your grandpa, your auntie, everybody. Tell them to subscribe. Leave a comment. Leave us a review on iTunes. And also, for those of you that do not know what WWS stands for, Armando, do the honors and let them know what WWS stands for.
Wrestling with Siblings. Thank you guys so much.
Join us on Sunday as we do our review on WWE Fastlane on the last stop on the road to WrestleMania. Thank you, guys.